Is Evan Rachel Woods being silenced by Marilyn Manson? Well, in my opinion, the answer is the exact opposite of that, and we're going to get into it, but first, welcome to Venture First. My name is Alex, and remember, in order to venture deeper, one must venture first, and that's exactly what I'm here to do today, so without further ado, let's just jump into this. So a recent headline being spun is that Evan Rachel Wood fights ex-Marilyn Manson's urgent attempt to depose her, says he is attempting to silence her. The whole point of a deposition is to get someone to speak under oath, tell their truth and nothing but the truth in a court of law in order to be used later in a court case. Being silenced is not being able to talk at all. So first, right off the bat, is she being silenced, or is she just trying to get out of actually saying things under oath in case it comes back up later and she's just trying to avoid that? So first red flag, in my opinion, she is not being silenced, she's being asked to do the exact opposite, but let's move on. Thanks to a tweet I saw on the Manson Case's Twitter page. If you guys are not following them, you should give them a follow, as well as people like Andrea Berghardt and Colonel Kurtz. They are great sources of information for this case, and they are who I am using for part of the information that I am getting this, and in fact, probably most of the information that I'm getting to this. I just have a platform that I'm trying to get this out to some people that may be interested. But they are saying Evan Rachel Wood hasn't had the chance to defend herself. She hasn't stood trial or responded to Marilyn Manson's lawsuit, but already Evan Rachel Woods is a liar is trending. If you ever wondered why women take years to speak out against domestic violence, this is it, this is why. So let's break this down a little bit. Evan Rachel Woods hasn't had the chance to defend herself from Marilyn Manson. First off, she initially brought accusations, and if these sources, if this information, if this evidence comes out to be truthful, she orchestrated an attack on Marilyn Manson's character and ruined his reputation. She hasn't got the chance to defend her because she has been on the attack the entire time, and it is just now Marilyn Manson's time to be able to fight back against her. She had a chance to say what she wanted to say, and the stuff that she said was very damning. Now, if Marilyn Manson comes back and the stuff that he is saying is true, if it can be, proven true in a court of law, that's looking good on him, not her. I could see why she doesn't want to be deposed. But moving on from that, she hasn't stood trial or responded to Marilyn Manson's lawsuit. You're correct, she has not stood trial because the trial hasn't happened yet. He is trying to get the deposition, that ball rolling, so when the trial does come, there is stuff on the record to see her point of view from her own mouth under perjury charges, under, I will tell nothing but the truth in a court of law. So the fact that they are saying that she is being silenced because he is asking her to speak, that just tells me that there may be some stuff that she doesn't actually want to say on the record. That is just me thinking about it this way. You guys let me know what you think, but that's just how I am seeing this. It just doesn't make sense of why is she being silenced if she's being asked to speak. You would think that if she has a chance to speak on the trial that she is being sued for under oath with nothing but the truth, and she is telling the truth, you would think she wants to get all of that out there. Am I correct in that way of thinking? I'm not sure, but that's how I think about things like this. And let's go back to the tweet. Already, Evan Rachel Woods is a liar is trending. Well, here's the deal. If you come out and you make a documentary, you throw these accusations around, you get people involved, you get a backing, you get multiple women into the Me Too movement behind you to attack a certain person, but there's really no clear-cut evidence except for what you say, the reports, okay? That's great. At that point, we should believe at least that there's a possibility that this happens. We need to look into this more. Well, now you have Marilyn Manson coming back, and he is saying, hey, this didn't happen. I have all of these things to prove it. I am willing to take this to court and have this all verified in a court of law. Once you start seeing that, once you start seeing these things be verified piece after piece, it's pretty easy to call someone a liar, or at least believe they're a liar or perceive them to be a liar because you lied. So if these things are being proved to be false, the FBI letter that you forged, getting girls together, getting women together to attack someone's character all at the same time with the same accusations, if you can come and start to counteract those points in a court of law, in evidence that will be brought into a court of law, it's pretty easy to call you a liar, and I am not one to call you a liar. I do not know currently, but it is easier to look at one side and say, they want to do this through a court system, they want to do this in the court of public opinion. It's easier for me to think the ones telling the truth are the ones that want it to be told under the oath of law. And that's just how I think about this when I think critically about situations like this. I don't ever want to call someone a liar just because they accuse someone, But if you accuse someone, you have to have a way to verify the information that you're putting out. Otherwise, the people that do are going to be the ones that are called the truth tellers. That's how this works. We've seen it with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. If you're going to have these accusations, you have to have the evidence to combat that with. Or the people that do are going to come out and make you look like a fool. And that is currently what is happening here. Not only that, but now you have a witness that is speaking out in DMs of people, if these are authenticated, saying that I was forced to do this. I didn't want to do this. This has gone too far. This isn't actually what happened. I don't know what to do. When you start seeing things like this, when you start seeing things from people that were involved in it, it's hard to believe one side of it when even the people that were on that one side start to turn their back on those accusations. Once you start seeing that, it's easy to think that, hey, maybe these people are actually lying, and that's just the way that we have to think about that. We can wait until it goes to trial, but is that really helpful to anyone if we've already let this man's career, his reputation start to get destroyed? Is that helpful if people aren't pushing back from the start? If we didn't have people pushing back from the start with Johnny Depp, that man would be ruined, and that's just the fact of the matter, is because that's how these things work. And in a court of law, Johnny Depp was proven to be at least the more truthful one of the situation, and that seems to be what this is shaping up to be. I don't want to call her Amber Heard 2.0, because I think while there are similarities, I think there's many differences that make them very much so not similar, in a way that the hoax is one thing, but the years of physical and mental abuse is another thing, and it's hard for me to compare those two, apples to apples. But when you talk about Marilyn Manson and Johnny Depp, they are both much more in a similar boat, where lies have been told on their name, they have been defamed, they've lost sponsors, they've lost deals, and now it's time for them to have to get the truth out there and fight back. Johnny Depp had to go through this for 6 years. Marilyn Manson has had to go through this for years. And he's finally at a point where he is getting the information out there, and the people that helped spread the information, just like Johnny Depp, are doing for Marilyn Manson. And if we wait for this to go to trial, to start talking about this, to get the information out there, I think we are doing a disservice to the truth, in my humble opinion. If this is the truth, if these things can be verified, if these things can be proven as true, in my opinion, these need to get in front of people, or at least in front of people enough to get the conversation rolling, and not necessarily pick sides, but say, hey, you're saying this, but she said this, and there's proof to this that counteracts those claims. And these conversations need to happen just so we can actually figure out what happened, so it's not just so polarizing and so hateful. So at the end of that rant, if you got anything out of that, it's just that she is not being silenced. She is actually being asked to speak, and she is being asked to speak her truth under a oath of law, correct? So she is not being silenced. She's being asked to speak, and when she speaks, she should be telling the truth, full stop. That is all that should come out of her mouth, is the truth. And if she is telling the truth, then it shouldn't matter whether or not she's being deposed. I don't see how people are taking this and spinning it in a way that she is being silenced, because that is not what's happening here. And it's truly disgusting to see the media do the same thing that happened to Johnny Depp. We get one side that tells us to wait for the trial, but then you have the media doing this. So how can we wait for the trial? How can people wait for the trial to get their opinion, get this information, get the truth out there, if the media is not going to do that as well? If the media is going to push a narrative, there always has to be independent journalists that are going to push, whether it's the same narrative, if that is the narrative that's true, or a counter narrative, to at least try to get a conversation going so that we can all find the truth. That is really the important fact of the matter, in my opinion, in any of these cases. I have not necessarily made up a full opinion, but I'm starting to sway one way more than the other. The more information and the more evidence that it will be evidence being put out into the public, it's hard not to think that one side of this may not be telling the truth, and may not, if they are telling the truth, they're definitely not telling the full truth. And I understand this is a very hard case. It's a very hard accusation to get around, but we've already seen it once. So if it can happen once to a high-profile male, it can happen twice. I'm not saying that it happened, but if it happened, we have to find the truth, or we are doing a disservice to Marilyn Manson, in my opinion. And if there is a truth that they are telling the truth, we are doing a disservice to these women if we're not telling the full truth. In my opinion, that is all that matters here, but let me know what you think. What do you think really matters here? So please like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below if you have any thoughts on this case. And remember, in order to venture deeper, one must venture first, and that's exactly what I'm here to do today. If you've stuck around this long, I really do appreciate you, so until next time, thank you.